Hi, everyone. This is Ron from POCculture.com. I'm here with Kee Chan, who plays Russell Tan in CW's Kung Fu. Kee, how are you today?
Hey, Ron. I'm very well, thank you, and thank you for having me here.
Absolutely. I love the show. I love your character. I think one of the hallmarks of a good show is having a great villain, and you've been a great addition to the team. But before we get there, I have to ask you, your personal background is so fascinating. I understand you've traveled to and worked in 158 different countries. Is that right?
Well, I've been to 108 cities, not
Oh,
countries.
cities,
Yes,
excuse me.
cities,
It doesn't
cities and
even make sense
countries.
from a country perspective. But yes,
Cities,
cities.
cities,
What
yes.
what do you just have a personal passion for travel, or where does that come from?
I've been traveling since I was a teenager. Dad used to take me on trips and things. And then one of my very first job after I left the military, I was 2 years in the military. I was a military policeman. I was Singapore Airlines. I was a steward for Singapore Airlines. And then yet again, I kept flying for 2 years. After I migrated to Australia, I still kept on traveling because I love meeting not just different people, absorbing different cultures, sceneries, psychologies. Um, Earth is so fascinating. People even more so.
Absolutely. I think that's so important. And I wish myself, I wish I had more opportunity to travel. I wish all of us did to just be able to understand different people and cultures. Like you said, I think that would be better for everyone. So for you personally, how has that just worldly view and perspective benefited you as a person and your work as an actor?
I understand people very, very deeply. I see through them in a very good way. I have a good grasp of human nature and the way people react and why people are the way they are. Most importantly, in my travels, I realize no matter where you are, everyone is the same. Every single person, despite what country you're from, wherever you are, what language you speak, what color you are, every single person is the same. You have the same hangups, you have the same desires, you have the same need for love, it's not just desire, more the need for love to be validated, to be liked, to be understood. You like to be wanted in a good way. Most of all, people say, let me repeat, let me think about this one. People all speak from their core. Whatever they're seeing comes from their core, whether it is true or false, if they are driven by one single thing or a few things within their being. At a certain age, when you're very young, you become set in your ways and you have a certain set of values you have already decided instinctively that those are your values, whether they be truth or whatever else it is. And from then on, your life may change in so many different ways, but every single thing you speak and every single thing you do and how you're driven comes from that core, which you develop as a very, very young person. And once you understand that, you will understand people because it doesn't matter what they say, it comes from a certain place.
That's very powerful and fascinating. And I think it that comes through in your performances and your ability to just know different types of personalities. But I agree with you, we're in an era where we're really trying to push authentic stories from diverse voices and people and backgrounds. But I often say, and I really love others who talk about how in those culturally specific stories, we get universality. We realize we really are connected and similar in so many ways. And I think we're getting that in Kung Fu. Like we have this show that, of course, it's on CW, it's light and it's fun, but also it's a rare Asian American voice and cast. But I feel like it connects to all kinds of people. And have you, found that, fans of the show come from all over, no matter the background?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You just nailed it because what Kung Fu is and why it's so good and why I love working on it is it is a family show, but the writers, this team of writers, have been able to encapsulate all the values of not of a culture, but of people themselves. What drives human beings? What makes them do certain things? And their different journeys. It's not about color. Eventually, I mean, yes, it is. It's about an Asian American people. But more than that, they are striving for acceptance, love, understanding, and making the dreams come true.
Absolutely. And that's what America is built on in many ways. And a lot of our dreams, no
Yes.
matter what city or country, are built on. So you joined this show at the end of season 1, and the role has expanded this season. I really enjoyed we've seen from Russell Tan this season.
Mhm.
Was it difficult to join like this already fairly tight knit team at the end of the season? And how was that transition process?
It was quite formidable, actually, because I arrived in episode 12
Right.
and 13, which is a finale. I was dropped right in the middle of a bonded team already. And they're just about to finish the season. You know, everyone is looking forward to finishing in the next 2 weeks or so. And here I am in the middle of this entire tight crew of family, not just the actors, not the cast, but also the entire crew. Formidable, formidable. But
And
I think, go ahead.
yeah, and yet I think it seems like you fit in well. I've heard you talk about how supportive the crew has been for you and allowed you to really develop your character. I'd love to hear more about how you've been able to get more comfortable with the team.
The entire team, I feel very much for. I became very comfortable with them because people, and there's an energy when you walk in a room, you feel it, whether it's positive, negative, aggressive, or detached. Kung Fu on set has the most wonderful, warm, supportive, very quiet energy, but you feel it so much, and it's very strong. And it also feels very safe for a creative person that you can go wherever you want to go creatively, and you will not be judged, you will be supported, and off you go.
I love to hear that, and it's so important for all creatives, but especially diverse creatives, to have a place where you feel safe. I think safe
Mhm.
was a great word that you used, and supported. Um, for your character, for Russell Tan, you of course he's the big bad, but at the same time, I know that it's been important to you to create a character who's layered, who's
Mhm.
complicated.
Mhm.
How have you gone about like further developing his character to be more than just the scary bad guy?
Scary is a term people would like to use, but people are very complex. Human beings are very complex. As I said before, a person is somebody's baby, someone's father, son, mother, daughter, sister, lover. Um, at one stage, and even during that stage, even a scary, bitter, angry person, or a villain is loved by somebody and needs something. There is a need, a very inner need for validation. How I took it off the script, out of the script, and made it, no, how I evolved character, how I evolved Russell was I made sure, despite all this written badness in him, I wanted him to be relatable on a very human level as well. His vulnerabilities, his insecurities, and yet his drive to see his ambition fulfilled, his dreams and his vision. Nobody ever believes that vision is bad. In their own mind, it is good. It is what they need. It must be done. But somewhere along the way, their vision becomes skewed, but they don't know that.
Absolutely, and that's what makes the best villains. Those who believe in the righteousness of what they're doing, and like you said, they don't think what they're doing is wrong. They're just willing to do what others maybe won't. And I feel like we see that in your character. Um,
Thank you.
to the relatability point, what's great about Kung Fu is that you have this, Nikki's family and friends and loved ones, but now we're getting, Russell and Annie Q joined the team this season as your daughter, Juliet, and of course Ludi as the son. And there's a family dynamic on the evil side here as well. How much have you enjoyed working with Annie and Ludi and having that other family dynamic?
I I've enjoyed creating the dynamics. I mean, I don't create the dynamics; it's there. I've enjoyed playing with it because they are a very complicating family. They can not get along, and they each have their own very strong characteristics. It's like it's like any other family. It's like many Asian families growing up. You're told to do one thing and you don't want to do this because live your own dreams, and mom and dad say you have to do this, must do this. Same thing. Um, it worked. It worked because at the end of it, if you love the person you're talking to, it doesn't matter. You will get over it. You will resolve problems.
Agreed. And we see that real family dynamic, especially with Juliet trying to kind of earn Russell's approval and love, and it's relatable. Like you said, it's human to see that dynamic. I've enjoyed that. Now, stepping back a little bit, because you've talked about an Asian family, and I've heard your own personal story about how you got into acting, which is kind of a crazy story. I'd love to hear you elaborate a little bit more. So, for those who don't know, a stranger that you met at a party
Mhm.
said you should be in the industry, and then connected you with an agent. Um, do you know who that person was? Like, do you keep in touch with this person, or do you have
I
any idea why that happened?
He was a director. That's director or producer. That's all I know. That's all I recall. I have no idea where he is right now, and because after the initial meeting, I never stayed in touch with him anymore because it was just a casual meeting. But that planted a seed in me, and I pursued it. After my first two jobs, I was bitten. I thought I knew this is what I have to do the rest of my life. This is what I'm going to do. I
That's
did.
so amazing how life just puts the right people in your path to
Mhm.
plant that seed. And yet you said you've decided this is what you want to do, but it's at a time in the industry that it couldn't have been easy for an Asian actor. How did you persevere and maintain in during a time when your background and opportunities probably were not as prevalent as they should have been?
Um, how did I persevere? I was able to make it when I hit rock bottom, when I thought I just couldn't do it any longer because I was so broke. I had nothing left. This is several decades ago. And I was selling my Canon camera and my sound system just to pay the rent. And then I did some amateur, one piece. That's the only theater I've ever done. It was amateur theater on weekends only for 3 weekends. And I was semi-broke because I couldn't work daytime and everything, for rehearsals. And gone with the cameras, gone with the music systems, and I've mentioned this in an interview before. I'm going to say this because it was very profound. I went to a neighbor's house. Her name was Loretta, and very casually, I said, "Do you have any baked beans?" He said, "Oh, yeah." And she took out baked beans from her cupboard. This was daytime, and she said, "What do you want baked beans for?" I said, "Well, I haven't eaten for 2 days, so I'll have some baked beans." Then she didn't say a word. She looked at me, and she proceeded to start cooking lunch for me, a whole lunch plus more to take home. And that, when I realized life is good, life is really good, people are really good, and I knew I could survive, not from help, but I knew if I could survive this rock bottom, I'm going to make it. That was the day my mindset changed.
Oh my gosh, Key, that is such a powerful story. I have chills right now, and what a what an incredible positive impact that that neighbor had on you. So you have that experience, obviously a formative moment in your career, and now here you are on this show and working with kind of a new generation of
Mhm.
up and coming Asian actors. Um, what advice do you have for them to persevere in the industry and hopefully have it a little bit easier thanks to the trail that you've blazed?
They have it way much easier. They have it. They don't think it. They don't believe. They don't think this, but they actually have it handed on a platter. Because I had to fight for every single role. I had to fight for an audition to get a role. I had to fight to be seen because there was nothing out there. There were the same 5 or 6 actors going to the same auditions, going to do the same role. Menial roles, and what I have to say for these young ones is believe in yourself. Not only that, know that you are enough. You don't have to change anything to get a role. You don't have to fight for a role. Be yourself. There is nothing more special, more enchanting than your true self. And the camera does not lie. You will mesmerize. Don't pretend. Be you.
I love that so much. I think that's the perfect way to end this conversation for now. Key, thank you for being so vulnerable and open. Your performance on Kung Fu is enchanting, and I really enjoy everything that you bring to the table. So it's still your time. So I hope to see you in more projects in the future. Thank you for chatting with me.
Ron, thank you so much for having me. Thank you. Have a great day, huh?